Hi everyone, this is Anson from AnsonAlex.com, and today I'm going to be presenting part 2 of my multi-part video series on Twitter. Part 1 of this video series was kind of an introduction to Twitter, just taught you about the user interface. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about mentioning other people and organizations on Twitter. Later on in this video series, we're going to talk about hashtags, privacy, some advanced customization to your Twitter profile, and just really everything that Twitter includes. So I hope it helps, and enjoy. Okay, so here I am on my Twitter profile, and we're going to talk about @mentioning in this video. So first, let's talk real quickly, what is mentioning somebody on Twitter? Well, basically, in part 1 of this video series, I showed you how to compose a basic tweet. So we just clicked in this Compose New Tweet box, and we just typed a message. So here we can just type, here is a sample message. And then we just tweeted this message, and this is just a text-based message with nothing else included in it. Now if you look at my Twitter feed over here to the right, you'll notice that there are some tweets where people are mentioning with the little @ symbol and then a name, they're mentioning somebody else or another account on Twitter. And there's a couple things that this provides. First of all, if you just want to get somebody's attention, but you don't necessarily want to send them a private message, you want to send a public tweet to them, but you want them to know about it, you can @mention them, because they will be notified when somebody sends a message with an @mention in it. And so how do you do that? How do you know how to @mention somebody? Well, if you look at your Twitter name, my name is Anson Alex. So if I want to @mention, say, myself, which you normally wouldn't ever @mention yourself, but I am going to for the purpose of this tutorial, I could just type in my message the letter or the symbol, the @ symbol, and then I can just start typing my name, and you'll notice a list drops down of people that I follow on Twitter, and probably some people that I don't necessarily follow. And I can choose whoever I want to mention. So I want to mention myself. So I click on my name, and you'll see that it's now included @Anson Alex. Okay, so now Anson Alex will be notified when this message is sent. But there's a few other things that @mentioning does. Maybe you aren't just trying to notify somebody of a message, maybe you're trying to attribute them. So maybe they are the author of something, maybe they're the author of an article or video, or you're typing a quote, you're tweeting a quote, and you want to attribute them as the author of the quote. You can then mention them in the tweet. It's usually a standard nice thing to do if you're tweeting somebody else's work. So that way they will see that you are giving them proper attribution, but your other followers who are reading your tweets will also be able to see who the author of that work is. So actually, before I send this message, I want to show you something that I do on AnsonAlex.com. If you go to my website and you go to any article, so let's say I go to this Twitter introduction tutorial. This is the first video in this Twitter series that I've done. Okay, so you've got the article here, you've got the video down below. But let's say you decided to tweet this article. So you went up here and you hit the tweet button. Notice when you do that, this box auto fills in for you a lot of information about this article. So it's got the title of the article or video, the website that it's on, Anson Alex, the link so people can access it. Oops, here's a link. But then notice at the end, I automatically add via @Anson Alex. So that does a couple things for me. Now I've set this up to do this, but most websites do. If you tweet something from CNN or any big website, it's going to @mention them in the tweet. First of all, for attribution, so if you tweet this, the people reading that will know that you are tweeting an article that was done by AnsonAlex.com, and he has a Twitter account, and that's his Twitter account, and then they could click on this link on Twitter and my profile would come up. The other thing it does is it allows me as the author and webmaster to see who is reading my content, who is sharing my content. Maybe I might even see some conversation about my content, because if somebody tweets this and then maybe somebody else replies to them, I actually see everything that people @mention with my name in it on Twitter. So if I do this with all my articles, I basically see every article that is tweeted on my website, unless somebody manually goes in and deletes off this last part. And then I could still do a search for Anson Alex and find a lot of stuff as well. So those are the main things that the @mention covers in Twitter. That's what it does. That's its function. So let's go back to Twitter here. I'm going to @mention myself. and let's just put in, here's a sample message for a tutorial. Okay, and again, I'm mentioning myself. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tweet this. Okay, so now it's tweeted. So a couple things. First of all, as I mentioned, since I mentioned myself, it gets confusing. As I said earlier, since I mentioned myself, it creates a clickable link. So now if I click on this little link, you'll see that the little profile summary comes up for my Twitter account. So as I'm going down my Twitter feed and I see, Ticket Alternative is mentioning Tower ATL. What's that? Oh, I can click on it. I can see a quick little profile summary. I'm not leaving the original page, so I can say, oh, okay, they sell beer, wine, and spirits. Sounds like somebody I'd like to follow. You could hit the follow button. I'm not going to do that. But you can see how that really does add just a rich media aspect to Twitter, because you can quickly see who people are mentioning, what their profile looks like, and then continue browsing. Now on the other side of things, when somebody mentions you, how does that look? And in fact, I did mention myself 46 seconds ago, so we can take a look at that. So right now we've been on my home feed here on Twitter, and I see all the tweets that people are tweeting that I follow. But if I want to see how people are interacting with my Twitter account and with me on Twitter, all I need to do is go to this connect link up here at the top. And you can see that it actually has the @ symbol, which is pretty self-explanatory. So now what I'm looking at is all the people that are specifically interacting with me. And the beautiful thing about Twitter is that my Twitter is completely public, so it's not like I'm showing you anything here in my Twitter account that you wouldn't be able to see if you just looked at my Twitter account yourself. So you can see, first of all, here's the sample message that I sent to myself. Now the only reason that it's here is because I mentioned myself. Here is somebody who 6 hours ago read an article on AnsonAlex.com. It was actually an infographic, and they tweeted it using the tweet button like I just showed you. And there's the via @AnsonAlex, so I can see who is reading my content. In this section of YouTube, you can also see your new followers. So I've got a bunch of new followers. Here's a conversation I'm going back and forth with a teacher in Texas about using infographics for education. But she's mentioning me. And when she mentions me, she then sends me that message. I see it, and when I hit reply to her message, you'll notice that it automatically adds her with an @ mention. So if I go down, you'll see more of that conversation. But you can see every time somebody @ mentions me, I see it in this feed over here. So it is definitely a very useful tool on Twitter. It definitely makes it more interactive. It makes it more social when you're mentioning people. You'll notice that I don't see any tweets right here, but if I go back to my homepage, you aren't limited to just mentioning one person in a tweet. So maybe you see something that's really funny, that's an inside joke that you know you're going to have with 5 people. You could tweet that inside joke and @ mention all 5 people that you think will be interested in it. If I go down here, I'm going to try and find somebody who maybe @ mentioned. So this person @ mentioned 2 people in their tweet here. Here's another 2 people, 3 people. That's the tweet we looked at earlier. So you can mention as many people as you want in one tweet. Here's a good one. This person is basically just saying huge respect. So I got a lot of respect for all of these people. And then they're just @ mentioning all the people that they have. Probably means respect for their tweets or what they do in their professional career. But you can definitely use Twitter in different ways. You can be very creative on Twitter with using the @ mentions. And you'll notice, you see that there is this huge respect is also a link, and it has the pound symbol before it. That is called a hashtag. And I am going to talk about that in the next video I publish here regarding Twitter. But for now, if you watched my introduction video, and then this video, you should have a pretty good idea of how to get started with Twitter, how to do some tweets, how to see people interacting with you, how to interact with some other people. If you didn't see my first video, I'm going to link it in the description here on YouTube, so check that out. And I will be coming up with a few other videos regarding Twitter here within the next week or 2. So I hope it helps. And if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a thumbs up here on YouTube. And if you want to see more technology tutorials and tips, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's all I have for you today. This is Anson from AnsonAlex.com.